There's nothing wrong with being a bitch as long as being a bitch fits into the plan. Welcome back to the kitchen. You were here with Team M.A.D, Rational in the building with your man, Twitch for Life, author Yves, and this is the executive edition. And it's really only that way because it's just me and my man are here doing our thing, talking about nonsense. And the new nonsense for the day is, what I don't understand about dancers in hip-hop culture is the dancers that are racist. Like, those guys are the worst.
What do you mean by racist?
Like, they're racist. Like, they hate either people of color or people from other cultures because they feel like them being what they are is better. And I'm like, bro, like, how can you be a dancer, like a break dancer even, and hate black people? Like, I don't understand.
This is something that you find often?
Yeah, it's like real often. And it's weird. It's like everything that is pop culture that we see as being part of pop culture comes from black people.
I wouldn't say that, but a lot of it comes from the mixture of different cultures. I would definitely say that.
Man, look, it comes from black people. Look.
I mean, pop country music did not come from black people.
I said pop culture. Pop country music is not part of pop culture.
It is part of pop culture.
It's part of country culture, which is just as big as pop culture.
Those little snap bracelets.
What snap bracelets?
The little 90s bracelets that had the piece of metal in it so that when you slapped them on your wrist, they stretched up.
That's not pop culture anymore. It used to be.
I mean, it used to be, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, pop culture tends to come from like a mixture of cultures where the I don't want to say conservative, but the status quo is being changed by new influences coming in and, you know, mixing it up.
It's just popular stuff.
Definitely.
It's just the stuff that people like.
Definitely.
Right. But it's like black people have a tend to take oppression and make it cool.
Definitely.
And,
that is very true.
And then it gets stolen.
Also very true.
And appropriated. I know I know that term is weird.
It gets spread the same way that everything else within culture does. It's just, I mean, to your point, things that black people pick up tend to look cool to those who are the majority, for example, in this country. And
I mean, we don't have the tips around it. You know, white people, Latino people, Asian people, they do the things that the other people make cool.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
But then even that goes from, you have like Japanese culture that's spread through.
Yeah.
Well, anime and like the martial arts and the pop influences from Japan.
Yeah.
And then black people get a hold of that and it blows up.
Bruce Leroy.
It turns into something else.
Pootie Tang. Put a tang. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, but and I think my point to that is all of these, everybody else has a specific like thing. You know what I mean?
No, I don't know what you mean.
So like white people don't have culture. Like everything that they bring in any country was stolen from another country.
That's the same of every culture.
That's not true.
It's not?
No.
No, then give me an instance where it's not.
Well, you just said martial arts, right? Martial arts was formed out of necessity, not stolen from another culture.
Where was this formed?
The martial arts, the arts of hand and fist, that was in Asia.
Where in Asia?
what was it? China, Japan, one of them.
It was formed in India, and then stolen and changed into China, and then stolen and changed into North Korea and Japan, and then has then spread throughout the world. It has been taken and changed into something new and different and interesting, and that's how everything in culture
Are you
is.
sure? Hold on.
Yeah.
It's a Shaolin monastery, but it was an Indian form of martial arts that stemmed from Buddhism.
See, the place of origin, it really doesn't matter. It's ultimately something that comes up somewhere in the world and then is traded and exchanged, and it's an idea that doesn't belong to one culture. Even African, like things that like the black culture tends to come from African descended people around the world. So you have like the people, the islander cultures that developed on the island because it made sense for them to develop on the island, like, you know, the Rastafari and the dreadlocks and things of that nature. There was a reason why it made sense there, and then it was brought to mainland United States, and it's become something. And that's the case with most things within culture. So while white, like Americans, tend to be the blandest of the culture groups, from our point of view, it's definitely
The thieviest.
well, everybody's thieviest. That's my point. Is
I
that
have not stolen a piece of culture, sir. Sorry.
as he wears a Japanese brand on your head, and
On my head?
yeah, who makes Audio Technica? Who originally made Audio Technica?
That's not Japanese. I think it's like German or something.
German.
Yeah.
Yeah, as he wears a German thing, and he's talking into a.
But I'd steal the culture. I'm not being part of the culture. I'm just
But
using the product.
that's the culture.
No, it doesn't have to be.
It stems from the culture. The product stems from the culture. It's like saying that like coconut oil belongs to people from the islands or something, or like a girl wearing a Chinese. What was the Chinese dress that she wore?
Kimono?
Was that a kimono that she was wearing to prom? And everybody got on her about cultural appropriation, even though she bought it from a Chinese store who market their clothing to the kids of that area. Like, there was nothing appropriating about that. That's how culture moves and evolves. That's how it is supposed to be brought up and shared.
Right.
Yeah, if a culture, if anybody's like one thing stays within that one group, it dies. It never becomes cool, never turns into pop culture. I know it's a real tribe, but I don't know anything about them. But like the Yanomamo group, say they were like a African tribe not an African tribe, like a tribe in Brazil. I think that's true. I think they're a tribe from South America. But pretend like nobody ever found this tribe, and they were deep in the rainforest of the Amazon, and they came up with all these great ideas like,
oh shit, it's not German. I was looking
at it the whole time.
The whole time. It's not. It's Japanese. You were right.
But say they came up with something, and then
It's Native Instruments is German.
yeah.
And Sennheiser's Japanese too.
Even though it's a is that a Belgium name?
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, but that's the point, is that culture, if it's good, I mean, if it's worth sharing, it's going to be shared across the world, and that's how it's always going to be.
But culture at its base, when we're talking about like the base of culture, is about, you know, the three pillars of culture, right? It's norms of behavior, your beliefs, and your environment, right? And when we talk about those pillars of culture, there are groups on the planet that practice those much more readily than other groups.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And one of the practices, for instance, one of the practices you see, like your Europeans through history, their culture is stealing other cultures. Like that's the norms of behavior of that group of people. right? You know what I'm saying? You go and you conquer.
Dangerous. Well, yeah. So any conquering group.
Yeah.
But
so,
then
like,
then you can say that that's the same argument you can have with the Mongols.
Sure, it's the exact same argument. It's the exact same.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like
So
that
it's
was
not just like a Western European thing. It's like
we see a lot more of it because the Mongols are not. They're not like anywhere now. You know what I'm saying?
They're in China.
But they're not referred to as Mongols.
Mongols, no.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. They're not there. Not that the results of their building isn't around. It's just they don't exist anymore.
Right. As a group.
Right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But Europeans are still here. Like they still exist.
Well, no, they're Americans. I think that's
No, I'm not just talking about here.
right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, there's Europeans in Europe.
Yeah, there's Europeans in Europe. You know,
Yeah.
there's Europeans in Africa.
Sure.
There's Europeans in the Caribbean islands.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're everywhere. But I'm talking about history. I'm not talking about modern day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about like history as groups of people, you
Right.
know, going.
So I think the argument can be made that conquering civilizations tend to be that of civilizations that pick up other people's that bite other people's culture.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I totally. I think it was when you specifically said like Europeans. I'm like, well, hold on. I mean, while they're probably one of the more recent versions of that, in fact,
most prominent.
Americans would probably be the most prominent now.
Maybe now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But I think, yeah. To what you're saying, yeah. I wouldn't say like any one person. I wouldn't call any one group of people like thieves. I would say anybody who's.
I'm gonna say this.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? And dangerous it may be. However, fuck it. So, you know what I mean? You even see it inside of America. You know what I mean? When new shit comes up. Think about it like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like black people tend to make oppression cool.
Sure.
That tends to be the trend.
Sure.
Right? We get oppressed and then we make it cool and everybody else is like, oh shit, we need to do that too. So like the sagging of pants, right? Mm-hmm. Pants sagging started as a way to signify which slaves had been buck broke, right? That's where the sagging of pants came from. They would sag the pants for around the below the waist.
By slaves, do you mean like prison inmates?
No, I mean slaves. So this is before the prison inmates, right? And so that would signify which ones had been buck broke, meaning which ones had been, you know, anally sodomized, right? And so we went from there, while the slavery went from slavery in the fields to then, okay, well look, we're coming to realize that you know black people are worth more than what we were saying, and so now we have slavery in prisons, right? You know, it shifted from the fields to the prisons, and then, you know, in the prisons you were doing hard labor anyway. But, you know, but the laws were such that it was much easier for a black person to go to prison than a white person, you know what I mean, for anything. So you know, in that's where you see the regular telling of the story of the pants sagging in prison, you know, people holding pockets and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? You hear that stuff. But we went from buck breaking to hip hop culture.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so like now you don't just see black people sagging their pants. You see everybody, Latinos, white people, everybody sags their pants.
Yeah. You
see what I'm saying? Because we took a thing that was oppressive and then we owned it. Right? You know, it's just like the N-word, right? That was originally an oppressive word, and then we owned it as part of our culture, as part of our history. Negative that it may be, it's still something that we own and use in a positive way. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You know, like for instance, you know, there's all kinds of things throughout history where something that was originally intended for a negative purpose has a positive outcome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, originally, that gunpowder, right? Gunpowder was original intent was for fireworks, right? And for show. You know what I mean? Then we made it into
ballistics.
Ballistics, right? now we use gunpowder and all kinds of things for, you know what I mean? Like that's how we do demolition in order to destroy, in order to rebuild things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's like all throughout history, there's things like that. You know, whether it be, you know, like knives. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Knives were originally a survival tool.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Cut down weeds and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Now we use them to cook, civilized. Yeah, you can stab somebody with it, but
yeah,
you can give life.
I
You
mean,
can take life away with a knife. You know what I mean?
Really, you're just talking about like a thing that's been multi-purposed out for different situations as they are called for. Which, I mean, yes, I mean, totally.
Right.
Totally
But we do the same thing with things that we are labeled with.
Sure.
You know
Definitely.
what I mean? Like, okay, you gonna label that with me? Fuck it, I'm gonna rock it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You gonna throw that out there? I'll rock it. Watch me. You've done that
Totally.
in your personal life. I've done that in my personal life.
Totally.
Right? Oh, I'm an asshole? Cool, I'm gonna be the best asshole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whatever.
Yo, I'm that bitch.
Right? Yeah, I mean. Why do we take multiple words and then smash them up into one word?
Because it's easier.
It's like, it's a whole nother language.
Sounds stupider. I dislike it, but
I know, but
I get it.
It's so pleasurable.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Down. That's so like somebody walks up to you and say, "What's down?"
I would stare at them so stupid.
So that's
What the hell?
That's what's happening. What's down? What's happening?
If anybody comes and says that to me, I will turn around and walk away.
I have said that to you, and you have not walked away.
I probably looked at you stupid as hell, though.
Maybe just now you're discovering exactly what that meant.
Yeah, that's not a word
It's not.
or a set of words.
No, it's a couple syllables smashed together that you're supposed to understand. Well, yeah.
It's called bad communication.
It's not bad communication. Both parties understand.
Sure.
Now, if I'm talking to you and I say that, it's bad communication.
Exactly.
You know.
I would venture to say most people, if you were to say that to them, that's bad communication.
So definition of most is contingent on demographic.
Sure.
If we go into New Orleans and you walk up to somebody and say, "Oh, what's down?" They will understand exactly what you said.
I would still venture to say that most people in New Orleans would still look at you like, what the hell?
Maybe most people post Katrina.
Sure.
Which goes back to my original point.
However, the president is in post-Katrina, so.
Huh?
The present is in post-Katrina.
Sure.
So.
I didn't grow up in the present. I was already grown. Boom.
So dumb.
Don't mind me. I'm drinking.
But even you look at hip-hop culture, so breakdancing, I venture to guess that most of that comes from like martial arts and like different other types of dance moves that come from various cultures.
Breakdancing is a derivative of a slew of different things. One of the heaviest things it derives from is Brazilian martial arts. That's what it's most
Capoeira and jiu-jitsu.
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which were also formed out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
Necessity for a civil war that was happening in which martial arts were banned, and so they mastered as dance in order to defend themselves. You got to be an intelligent individual to be like, yo, all right, you gonna stop me from fighting? Cool, I'm gonna dance this out, and I'm gonna hit you with this heel while I cha-cha. Like, think about how intelligent you have to be in order to make that happen.
Yeah. I would say intelligent, like situationally it's intelligent.
Well, I mean, there's all kinds of different intelligence,
Yeah.
forms of intelligence, right? I mean,
But like for the situation, like that person probably did not know how to read, but they had a damn good idea on mixing
I know
dance
a lot of
forms
hustlers
and
that can't read, bro.
the music, hip hop music. That's a culmination of everything from the technology, the Japanese sampling programs, and
Japanese sampling programs? What do you mean?
yeah, because like the original sampling programs were like Yamaha and sampling system sampling board things where they would record and
Oh, you're talking like later, like early 90s. When you say sampling systems, because originally,
sampling, like any sampling, like
are you just talking about the
recording
equipment?
things. Yeah,
And the brands, the brands used?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I got you. I'm like, nah, bruh.
Well, I mean, there was sampling like long before that with like tape sampling and tape
Yeah.
loops and all that. But that's where hip hop wasn't what came from, that like idea of turning those samples into repeated things that could be, danced to. And then the break beat. I mean, I'm not gonna try to like guess where the history of that, but
The breakbeat? It's easy. The breakbeat was a funk breakdown. So it was literally the break and funk songs. That drum break that happened in a lot of the early 80s and 70s funk songs. They just put that on a loop, and that would become the break beat. You know what I mean? And so your break beat would hit your timings of 1 2 1 2 or 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3, and those were always like the funk break loops, and that formed the culture of breakdancing, where that's where the b-boys came from. They were either break dance boys or break boys. You know what I mean? And that's where that derived from, was that funk music. Now there's so many more elements that's there now. You know what I mean? But like those first breaks, they were they would loop the breaks, and then your rapping came from MCs that would talk over the breaks. And just talk about all of the things they saw in the room and the parties that they were at. You know what I'm saying? And in the Bronx and New York. You know what I mean? So, man, to be alive in that time would have been amazing.
I don't think so, since those types of things tend to come from like the shittiest times. And
yeah, but
I mean, it'd be great to like be there and experience it. I just
Yeah.
wouldn't want to live there.
No.
I would definitely like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, whatever, like zip into one of those clubs and just experience that, and then like pop the fuck back out.
I mean, there's no point in like back in history I'd ever want to travel to as a black person. Honestly. But like Joe Rogan says, but probably would have been cool to see some shit. Speaking of traveling back in time, his latest special was hilarious, especially when he was talking about if Thomas Jefferson popped up in 2018. He was like, you guys didn't add anything to that?
Add anything?
I wrote that with a feather.
It was really good.
One, two, three. 1, 2, 2. This is fire. This is a really slow track, though.
Well, it's not made to dance. It's made for the battle.
Yeah. Right. But as b-boys, we would dance to this because we dance to anything.
I'm thinking about like the reggae MCs. I'm not saying like the original MCs were reggae. I'm saying like the reggae MCs came in and added like a whole new flair to it.
They spiced up the flow. They made flow interesting because they came in with different rhythms and patterns and literary techniques.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were rhyming the fronts of words and stuff. Like before, we was only rhyming the backs of words, but then they came in and would rhyme
With
like
alliteration.
Yeah, alliteration, and they would just rhyme syllables. Like, man, yeah. They had a huge impact on hip hop as we know it. You know what I mean? Dance hall has such a huge influence on dance music as well. Like every now and then I'll be like, you know what? It's a dance hall day. Yeah. Bring it to boy. So as always, look, if you like this episode, go ahead and hit that like button. If you want to hear more, see more, hit that subscribe button, right? And bringing back our cut of the week section of the kitchen. If you're an amateur artist, or if you know an artist, or you know a professional, right? Get them my email, submit at madrational.com so that we can grab their music, we can talk about it, we can play it for the audience, and make the community better, because that's really all it does. You know what I'm saying? When you have real people giving you some honest feedback on your music, and people that would love to work with you. We love to work with artists. You know, it only helps everybody. So be a part of the community. We'll holler back. Deuces. Everybody's talking about the Juice Crew funny, but you're still telling